I rise to give him perfect praise and adoration to the great God Allah, Almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible, causeless cause and rootless root from which all things have come forth from, known by many different names and by many different nations and cultures and creeds and nationalities. But there is only one, and that is all, the Father and Mother of the universe. And honors to his prophet, Noble Ali, and honors to his forerunner, Marcus Garvey. Now, this is another episode of The Mind Before the Chains. I'm so blessed and happy that I have the pleasure to even share this information. Of course, I could have done it on my own or whatever, or for myself or for YouTube or whatever, but someone thought of me enough to say that he holds value. And again, my name is Sheikh Montezuma Yakama Bey, also known as Brother D. Kinsey Bey, member of the Moorish Science of America, Temple 22 out of Walla Walla, Washington. But yeah, I was thought of. Somebody said, I think he has value, and I would like to have him share his value that he has, and I'm so thankful for that opportunity. And so this episode, I really want to kind of talk about some of the last points and bring in maybe a few new concepts so that way we can get to the ultimate goal, which is healing from trauma, healing from stress, healing from depression, healing from suicidal thoughts, healing from Stockholm syndrome, healing from decolonization, healing from narcissism, healing from gaslighting, which is a new term I've been learning about, healing from usurpation, healing from logical fallacies, healing from lies, healing from misconceptions, healing from what else are we healing? We're healing from a whole bunch of stuff: economic slavery, political slavery, social slavery, mental slavery. Trying to heal from all those things, and they come in different forms. Emotional slavery. I mean, that's another one. We want to heal from all these things. And one of the ways that we can heal from these things is examining how we think, examining how we reason, examining how we understand things, and examining how we think. So our thinking, our understanding, our reasoning, and our willing, examining how we will things, what urges us, what invokes us or guides us to do one thing or another. Examining our nature, examining the false narratives that we've been told about, and examination. As silly as that sounds, examination. Like when you think about a story in history, I was talking about this earlier today to a brother. I won't mention his name out of respect, but he and I were having a conversation, and we're talking about Christopher Columbus or Cristobal Colon, and we know the story. Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. Yeah, now it's all facts. Now, one of the things that I think a lot of people have left out is the particular time that he came today, which is April 1st. Now we can examine as to why April Fools is such a holiday when it's actually about the destruction of our civilization. Christopher Columbus, also known as Cristobal Colon, he was commissioned or had the ability hired by Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand of Spain. They just got heirship, if you will, of the Spanish Empire, which then became the Spanish Empire. It was originally ruled and ran by Moorish Muslims or African Muslims, Moorish and African synonymous. They ended up, giving them this kingdom, giving them trade routes and different things like that. And the soldiers that were soldiers and sailors that were part of the building of the ship and sailing the ship, were Africans. However, they were also Spanish Christians. But prior to them being Spanish Christians, they were Moorish African Muslims. They practice Islam. And when you examine how they became Muslims and then were converted or forced to convert to Christianity and then became Spanish, is a process called uh, nationality, or a process of the political allegiance, changing of political allegiance. Because nationality is defined in the Black's Law Dictionary as the quality of character that rises out of the fact that a person belongs to a nation and or state and maintains political allegiance. And these particular group of Moorish ancestors of ours, or African Muslims, they were forced to change their allegiance from Islamic and Moorish and African to being Spanish and Christian or Catholic, following Catholicism. And these particular sailors had already been very familiar with sailing, already been familiar with expeditions that had come to the Americas, particularly what is known as the Gulf of Mexico. Why? Because a Malian sultan or Malian king or Malian ruler named Mansa Musa and his father had expeditions already had taken place into what is known as Texas, Mexico, Louisiana, Mississippi region of North America. And this was in the 1300s. So there was just a perspective when we're talking about examination. They examine that, in history, they will say all of these people were Spaniards, therefore they were all pale skin, or they were all European, or they were all not African, and so that's like a linear way of looking at history, and it's in error. And so we want to work on bettering our examination skills, sharpening them up a little bit to make ourselves more equipped to be able to dismantle the lies and the fallacies that we see in history and strive to abstract information that may not be initially easily able to be observed. So keep our eyes peeled, duck, bob, and weave, from all the foolishness that comes out of different information that we get and receive. So that's something that we want to be able to consider. Examine your examination. Examine the examiner. Examine the examiner's examinations. It sounds funny. It sounds a little silly. We like to have fun, but we also want to be educated, and we want to have a well-rounded perspective about our thinking, our reasoning, our willing, and our understanding. So that way we can be free in more ways than one. Well, with that, I say peace and love. May Allah continue to bless you for the good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Thank you. This is another edition of The Mind Before the Chains.